2 Samuel chapter 5. And all the tribes of Israel came to David in Hebron, and they say to him, Behold, we are of your bones and of your flesh. And before yesterday and the third day before, when Saul was king over us, you were the one leading out and bringing in Israel. And the Lord said to you, You tend my people Israel, and you will be for leader over my people Israel. And all the elders of Israel come to the king in Hebron, and King David ordained with them a covenant in Hebron in the presence of the Lord. And they anoint David for king over all Israel. David was a son 30 years in his reigning, and 40 years he reigned. 7 years and 6 months he reigned in Hebron over Judah, and 33 years he reigned over all Israel and Judah in Jerusalem. And the king went forth, and all his men unto Jerusalem, to the Jebusite dwelling the land. And it was said to David, You shall not enter here. For the blind and the lame opposed, saying, David shall not enter here. And David overtook the citadel of Zion. This is the city of David. And David said in that day, Every one striking a Jebusite, let him touch by the dagger both the lame and the blind, and the ones detesting the soul of David. On account of this they shall say, Blind and lame shall not enter into the house of the Lord. And David stayed in the citadel, and this was called the city of David. And David built the city round about from the Acra and his house. And David went going, and being magnified, and the Lord Almighty was with him. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, and wood of cedars, and fabricators of woods, and fabricators of stones, and they built a house for David. And David knew that the Lord prepared him for king over Israel, and that his kingdom was lifted up on account of his people Israel. And David took again wives and concubines from out of Jerusalem, after his coming from out of Hebron. And still more sons and daughters were born to David, and these are the names of the ones being born of them in Jerusalem: Shammua, and Shobab, and Nathan, and Solomon, and Ibhar, and Elishua, and Nepheg, and Japhia, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Eliphalet, and Elishua. And the Philistines heard that David was anointed king over Israel. And all the Philistines ascended to seek David. And David heard, and went down unto the citadel. And the Philistines came and met in battle in the valley of the Titans. And David asked of the Lord, saying, Shall I ascend against the Philistines? And, Will you deliver them into my hands? And the Lord said to David, Ascend, for in delivering I will deliver the Philistines into your hands. And David came from out of the upper breaches, and smote them there. And David said, The Lord cut through my enemies before me, as he cuts through waters. On account of this, the name of that place is called Upper Breaches. And they left behind there their gods. And David took them, and the men with him. And the Philistines proceeded yet again to ascend, and met in battle in the valley of the Titans. And David asked through the Lord, and the Lord said, Do not ascend to meet them. Turn from them, and you shall be at hand for them, neighboring the place of weeping. And it will be, in your hearing the sound of the rumbling from the grove of the weeping, then you shall go down to them. For then the Lord shall go forth in front of you, to strike in the battle of the Philistines. And David did thus, as the Lord gave charge to him, and struck the Philistines from Gibeon unto Gezer.